why not?
Because why not? It's what we do.
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress. Oh, now we're gonna get busted because you said something copyrighted. Copyright?
Well, you'll just have to bloop it out, won't you?
Copywritten. That's a new word.
Do you remember the last episode where we had Matt and Kate on?
Do you remember? Bow, the 20th. We're off. We are off. Do I remember? I'm sorry. I do want to hear what you said. Do I remember what?
The last episode when we had the lovely Matt and Kate on, and we started with recording in progress, and they both just kind of went.
Watching their faces at the very beginning of that, they were like,
I was like, well, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, you guys aren't used. What? You guys
That's
haven't listened to the
probably
show?
what people at home do. They're like, this again, guys, really?
I pretend that people at home go more like this. Oh my gosh, it's time for a new episode. Like Little Erin, my friend Little Erin.
Hey, Little Erin.
I'm sure she actually gets excited when we post new episodes because she always screenshots it and sends it to me. And that's why she's a friend.
That was me breathing, by the way. I just needed to fill my lungs.
No problem. Quick side note. Erin and I recently went to, one thing Erin and I both like to do is go to happy hour at a local restaurant here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple weeks ago, we went to happy hour, which starts at 3 p.m. And we got there at 3:30 p.m. And we both left for home at 10:30 p.m.
Did you try and start fights with anyone?
Not that I'm aware of. I have to ask. But yeah.
So heads up to you, Carlo. When we
happy
have
hours
the pub crawl here in the UK after WCM, please don't start fights with anyone, because anyone who is out on a Monday drinking in the UK, they will kill you.
Well, okay. For context. By the way, you're listening to season 2, episode 9 of Fran and Carlo Get OCR Adjacent. We're actually this is OCRE. We're talking about the pub crawl, which, by the way, we learned will be for World's Toughest Mudder 2025 is going to be on site.
No, the brunch will be on site, buddy.
Look at me coming out of the gates, stumbling on my big old giant feet, and now my dog suddenly wants to be involved in the conversation. The brunch and awards will be on site, as we learned in last week's episode. Thank you, by the way, because a lot of people listened, a lot of people watched on YouTube. So
watching on the
turns out we just have to give stuff away. So
of course we ran a competition.
Yes,
pretty major prize, thanks to the crew at World's Toughest Mudder, was one free World's Toughest Mudder entry.
Yeah, and we have a winner, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But to the content, see, look at me. I actually remember what we were talking about, and I'm going to get back to it really quick. At the pub crawl this past year, it turns out after having a few drinks, I was like, I wasn't trying to start fights, but I feel like I was asking people around me, like, if I should but it was so silly because I haven't been in a fight since 2nd grade.
I don't think you didn't start on Dustin. I'm not sure if you started on me. Because
I have a normal. No, why would I ever start on? I have a sense of my own mortality.
Yeah, but Mike Stefano is very offended because he's like, dude, that's not a Mike Stefano voice. I can hear it in my head.
You swear a lot to be a Mike Stefano voice.
Does he swear a lot?
Off record? Oh yeah, he swears a lot. Not off record, but privately.
He's like got multiple martial arts things.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, I could kill you.
Yeah. You know what? And if someone tells me that, I'm gonna take their word for it.
I could kill you.
Like, there was never any serious intent. You probably could. Actually, you know what? Yeah, but you'd do it like in a really. Yeah, I'd never even know. I'd be like, "What's going on?" You'd be like, "Oh, you're dying because I poisoned you 2 hours ago."
And then
it's water activated, and I just gave you a water. And I'd be like, "No."
I'm not a baddie in a movie that gives away what they've done. I'd just be, you'd just be alive, and then you'd be dead.
Just keep walking. Just keep walking. Anyway, so yeah. So, but there was another instance of that, and it was shortly after the pub crawl where I was out with my friends, and someone was like, "Dude, you kept talking about fighting and getting in a fight And I was like, well,
Just don't do
I
it
guarantee
here.
you,
Please don't do it here.
I would
Okay.
never do it. I would never do it anyway. Like that's not me. Even if I, whatever. That's so yeah. No worries at all. Especially if I'm in an area where I know people are way more accustomed to fighting than me, which doesn't take much. Like I said, second grade. Second grade. One minor kind of bar altercation when I was like in my 30s, and that ended abruptly, so we're good. Anyway,
Good. Anyway, let's move on before I lose my job.
let's move on and talk about, well, oh, you know what? Let's do this. And we never do this, and I feel like if we're on YouTube, we have to do it, right? Listen, folks. If you're listening to us on YouTube, we're on the OCR Report podcast channel. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment,
Leave a comment.
ring the bell. Is ring the bell a YouTube thing? Ring the bell, ding ding ding, ring the bell.
Just engage, guys. Just engage.
Yep. If you're on Apple Podcasts, do whatever the thing is that you do there. Do you subscribe? Maybe, I don't know. We're not on TikTok, although Fran has set up a TikTok.
We
for
actually
us.
are on TikTok. We have like 3 posts, and they're all hilarious.
Do we? Okay, I remember like one of them.
I think there's 3 now.
Okay. And you know what? We also have a secret Signal chat, and we're in there with the Department of Defense. And so we know, hey, let's go being topical. We're just kidding. I didn't even know what Signal was until that. Nope. Except the journalist.
This is not Fran and Carlo get political adjacent.
It is not. You're right, because no one wants to listen to that nonsense. But how about some community news?
Oh, we've got
Hey,
hey.
Do you have community news?
I've got a few things. Were we not going to talk about our competition winner?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We could talk about our. Well, yes. Let's do a quick overview. So, as many of you saw, we had Kate and Matt from TMHQ on last episode.
Total patooties.
They were adorable.
So excited.
Matt is very handsome, by the way. I did not realize he was going to be. Girl, I can say a nice thing about one person and not mean that I don't mean a nice thing about somebody else. I'm just pointing out that Matt was a little striking with his attractiveness. I was like, dang, dude, good for you. We should all be so lucky. Anyway.
I cannot comment.
And Kate was adorable. They answered all the questions that we threw at that they could, right?
We saved a few questions because they weren't questions for them, and we were keeping them a long time, which we'll get to on another day.
Yes. But we asked the question, or actually tell the people what the question was we were looking for the answer to.
So we decided to make it way more difficult than it needed to be.
We did. Yeah. Sorry about that.
I don't care. And ask people what the kind of the one-off tip that Matt shared for people coming to WTM next year. And we asked people, in order to enter the competition, which means they would have to listen, to DM us the answer and leave a comment on one of the many posts we posted. That turned into a little bit of a logistical nightmare for us, keeping track of it. But it was okay. And Carlo did a great job. I did nothing.
Thank you. You responded in the group chat when I said, "Holy crap, keeping track of this is a nightmare." But but yeah, so it was kind of like a 3-pronged thing. You had to.
I mean, people should be grateful because what I wanted to do was put in a ton of beavers into the episode, and you'd have to watch it on YouTube and count how many beavers there were. Carlo vetoed that. That was what I wanted. Like, how many beavers appear?
And
one of them was going to be like a quokka, not a beaver.
And that wasn't going to count?
Nope.
Oh, you were going to throw him a curveball. We could have had the French squirrel in there too, just like for the old days. Ecule. You know, I'm doing English, or no, not English. I speak that, evidently. I went to school for that for like 12 years. I'm doing Italian on Duolingo now, and squirrel has not come up.
I am doing Italian, French, and Dutch on Duolingo.
This is not a
Dutch.
competition, Fran. I'm just.
No, I know. Dutch is going terribly slowly. I can say
I would
hello, goodbye, good morning, good evening, juice.
juice. That's good one because you
Sat.
have a daughter.
I am a child. I am a woman. Ik ben een vrouw. Ik ben een kind.
See, I was
That
gonna say I didn't know what Dutch sounds like, but now it sounds German.
it doesn't really sound like German. It just did when it came out of my mouth.
Oh,
Um, one of my favorite things about I love Dutch. I love the Netherlands. I love Dutch people. I love the language, but it's really difficult, and they all just speak English really well. But I was there once,
thank you.
and I
You
was
were in
watching.
Dutch.
I was in the Netherlands, and where was I?
They're the ones that wear all the orange.
Hilversum, Hilversum Media Park. That's a
That
really good
sounds like
Dutch accent.
that sounds like something that I'd find like in my breakfast cereal in the United States that's slowly giving me cancer. Do you suffer from? It's one of those
Hilversum Media
infomercials at
Park.
2 a.m. where it's
Anyway, so
class action
I just had the
lawsuit.
TV on, like whilst I was
Yeah.
getting ready in the morning, which you do.
Yeah.
And there was a British program that they just had subtitles on because everyone speaks English anyway, but they had the subtitles. And in the
Yeah.
UK, the program's called Homes Under the Hammer. It's a really bad TV show where people go and look at like really cheap
Oh yeah.
auction properties, buy them, do them up, sell them. And this is
We
what I
have
love about Dutch. So the show is called Homes Under the Hammer. In Dutch, it's called Huizen onder de Hamer.
reason.
Huizen onder de Hamer. Huizen
Reason.
onder de
Reason.
Hamer.
Something I got punched in the stomach. I'm trying to talk. Reason.
Huizen.
I'm trying to say
Huizen.
the reason that I. What's interesting is there is a Canadian-based home improvement show that we had here in the States
Is it the two
called
brothers?
Homes on Home. Oh no, I don't watch those guys.
Ah,
Homes on Homes with Mike.
Homes on Homes.
Homes on Homes with Mike Holmes, and
Homes
I
on
still try to
Homes.
find that on YouTube because I like him a lot.
Really?
We're gonna make it right. He literally looks like Bob the Builder, but just a larger Canadian man.
Why don't you like the two brothers?
Because I think those shows have a
That
lot of
was the am I
manufactured.
recording face?
Oh, nice. I feel like that show has too much manufactured drama on it, like a lot of reality TV does.
Yeah, a lot of American shows do that a lot.
It's why I stopped watching the a lot of the American like car building shows because it's all come down to like there's not enough time. We're not going to get the parts. How am I supposed to? These guys need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, and I'm just like none of that's
You're never
true.
going to do it.
None of
Do you
that's
know
true.
what I think is a really great evolution in TV making, though?
No,
Love on the Spectrum.
I
Shall I
have
tell
never
this for
seen
why?
it, but I
Start with
what'd
season
you
two
say?
because that's when Tanner comes in. Because it's nothing to do with drama, and it literally shows that you can make a really, really great TV show with the right personalities, and you don't need to be correct. Because too much of American reality TV is like that, and it's kind of infiltrated the rest of the world, and I just don't like any of it anymore.
Yeah, we have
And I
a
like just
we,
regular people going about their lives. And, Love on the Spectrum is just a great example of great people living their life. No drama. Or if it
there you
is,
go.
it's just real drama.
Speaking of drama, we had a contest.
Oh, God.
I know we just went on a 6 minute tangent and ended up on Love on the Spectrum, and oh, we are back in form, girl. These every other week episodes that really like help us to
Focus.
yeah stay tight to the agenda. So you had to listen to the episode, figure out the correct answer, which a lot of you did, a lot of you did not.
A lot of you did
Um,
not.
Right. And you had to leave a comment on the post and you had to DM us the answer. So it wasn't it wasn't as easy as a contest because again, most of
Oh
us
my
matter
God, the prize is worth like $500. Why should it be
exactly.
easy?
Well, I'm not saying it should be, but I'm just yes. The good news is a decent amount of you entered and some of you got it right. A lot of you did not get it right, and that's okay.
That's
What we
fine.
were looking for, answer wise, was what, Fran? What did Matt say? What was the phrase we were looking for?
We were looking for paraphrasing regarding the Holy Grail
Yep.
2025, and it
Yep.
was top tip for people coming to the UK for World's Toughest Mudder. If you've already been earning your Holy Grail and you want to complete it at World's Toughest Mudder, bring all your pieces with you because they will make the complete Holy Grail and there are no additional pieces. You're looking at me like that's the wrong answer.
No, no, no.
You're
I'm
like,
just.
and I was like, I'm pretty sure, actually, considering
That's
this was
my.
2 weeks ago,
I'm ready
I
to say something as soon as you're done talking. Face.
just
Sorry. This.
repeated it verbatim and did a really good job. And then I was like, am I not doing a good job?
No, you nailed that. In fact, I was.
Thank you.
That was me like giving my impressive face. Impressed face. Um. Yes. Everything you said was everything you said was correct. And then I apologize for questioning or having you think I was giving you a questioning face when in reality that was the face of someone who's impressed because you were just rattling off the whole thing. And so after you said that, I summarized by saying, like, World's Toughest Mudder 2025, like, bring your medals. And he said, bring your medals. So yes, bring your medals was kind of
Yeah.
the phrase we were looking
Yeah.
for. I shouldn't say kind of, it was the phrase we were looking for. And there is a person in the group or a listener who knew the right answer. And they sent us a DM with the right answer. And
I'll tell you somebody who knew the right answer and sent us the right answer and we had to disqualify them.
oh, who was that?
Caitlin.
I know. I was playing it up.
I felt really sad because she did it. And I was
know.
Like, listen,
she
buddy.
did. She did everything she was supposed to do, except. And I was like,
loves you, but that's not ethical.
You do kind of work for the OCR report. Not kind of.
I mean, we didn't actually make any rules, so we could have given it to her, but we did decide to self-police and say that wouldn't be fair. And she does already have an entry anyway, because she did use, for those of you who don't win, and there will be everyone else but the one person who wins, there is a code. So for anyone who wasn't the person who won, and there's going to be lots of those people, they can get a discount on World's Toughest Mudder. And this is, as far as I'm aware, the only code that's currently out there. And that code is 2024 WTM 50. What does it give you off? I don't know. Probably $50.
Yes, not 50%. I don't think it would give you 50%.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? If it was 50%.
That'd be great. I got
You know
50% off one year.
Do you know what we should have done for the competition?
Well, we can always do another competition.
We should have just snuck the code somewhere in the video, and the first person to use it won.
Oh yeah, you'll know if you win because the code works.
We should have like made a puzzle that people had to put together throughout the video that gave the code, and whoever worked it out. That's what we're doing next time.
All right,
it's going to be a puzzle.
It's going to be I don't quite understand, but we'll work it out.
I'll make it happen.
We've got time.
Mm-hmm.
We've got time. Maybe they'll give us a code for another event coming up. I don't know which one.
I don't know either.
Right?
I don't know
either.
Like a
Spartan or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
As the fans go, boo. Just kidding. We don't care. So yeah.
Do you know what we've not done for a couple of weeks?
I mean, there could be many things.
Jack Gorse.
We haven't done Jack Gorse. So, about that. I would love. You know what? We actually had a really good talk the other day, and I was like, man, see, when you catch Jack in the right mood,
you catch Jack in the wrong mood, I want to throttle that kid. And then he says something, and I'm just like,
I want to grab him by his little.
How have you made me laugh? Because I was about to kill you.
His little ear, and then just drag him down.
But then oh.
Yeah, exactly. But I reached out to him and said, hey, buddy, weather report. And he sent us this like 2.5 minute long bit, like air quotes, comedy bit in our group chat this morning. And he's like, that's my weather report.
Then use it.
Step one, it's 2.5 minutes long. Step two, he doesn't mention the weather once. But you know what? I'm going to take 30 seconds of it and put it in right here, whichever 30 seconds I please. So, why are you just holding up a random towel?
It's towel came from, and I feel like I should remember. Why do I have a blue towel? I don't know.
So, without further ado, not to be confused with Freddie Adu, who once was supposed to be the first great American soccer player. He didn't really pan out. Jack Gorse, 30-second
Two and a
not
half minute
really
comedy
wet
run.
2.5 about nothing having to do with the weather. Take it away, Jack.
I just got back from Ukraine a few weeks ago, and many people ask me like what I was doing there, and I tell them I do war photography and I teach English to kids. But what they don't know is that I'm low-key stupid. Like this one time, I didn't know how to spell octopus, and I had to Google it in front of like a group of like 10 different kids. I'm terrible at spelling and I'm terrible at pronouncing words. Sometimes my spelling gets so bad that I ask Siri, that autocorrect doesn't work, then I ask Siri, and Siri has given up on me because I can't pronounce words either.
Oh, oh, he's a he's a riot. He's a riot.
I said to him the other day, I was like, why don't you do like comedy on TikTok? Because you're really freaking funny.
Yeah, I know you always say that to me about Jack being humorous, but I don't know. We all, you know what? We have different
Wow.
tastes in humor.
Harsh. Okay.
What
Bitch.
did you say? Harsh? Oh, that part. I thought you said harsh.
Yeah, harsh. A little bit
Then
harsher.
I thought I heard you say posh, and I was like, I don't even know exactly what that means, but I equate that with Beckham's wife, and I
Mm.
am not posh. Wasn't
No,
she
you're
Posh
not.
Spice?
She was posh
She was.
spice, yeah.
Oh, I thought she was sporty.
No,
Oh no,
Sporty wore tracksuits. Ginger was Ginger. Baby had blonde hair. And Scary wore the leopard print. Like me.
sporty was the one. Sporty was the one that I liked. She was like the one that I thought was cute.
Really
Um,
sexy.
wait, can you imagine they're handing out these names for the Spice Girls, and then they go, "By the way, you're Scary
Do you
Spice."
know where the names came from?
I do not know where the names came from.
So they were
Quality
just
content, by the way. I love
the
this.
Spice Girls, right? And then I
Yeah.
think it was like Top of the Pops or it was a magazine like that. It was done in a magazine, and I would love to be the person who did it. Decided because one of them was Ginger, and Ginger is a spice, decided to call her Ginger Spice and then name all the Spice Girls. And this name stuck. And I remember it. I'm
Oh,
sure I have this image in my head of like the Spice Girls head and then like like a
the
bottle of
little.
ginger.
I would never have known that.
And they stuck with it.
It's also like the late '90s, so I
Yeah.
like. Wow, good for them. I think they all did pretty well for themselves. Some more than others, but that's always the case with big like manufactured groups like that, right?
Mm.
So look at us.
Look at us. Okay, we
Look
need
at
to speed
us.
this up because I want to go to bed.
Okay. So we do have a contest winner to announce.
We do.
And we already did Jack Goras.
Uh-huh.
So we have thoughts on things coming up too.
Community
Oh,
news.
oh yeah. Did you want to mention something about the chocolate guy?
Yeah, the chocolate guy, Matt Willis.
Matt Willis. Tell me about Matt Willis.
So he's adorable.
Aw.
He's great. He's done coverage with us a few times. He works with Mudder and Guide, and he's just an all-round good fella.
Mhm.
And CBS did a piece on him about him being a chocolatier and an obstacle course racer, and it was great. And if anyone doesn't know, he makes chocolate, so you can watch the story. I'm not going to tell his story for him, but he makes really great chocolate, including really good vegan chocolate, which I like. And he sells it at,
Clearly.
markets and stuff. It's called the Chocolate Shop. I think it's like the Chocolate Shop with an
P
E.
with a
PE. I
PPE.
think so, yeah, I should know that. But it's really, really good. Find him on
Chocolate.
socials. It's really good chocolate.
Matt
Go buy
Willis,
some.
chocolate guy.
And he
So it
said, one
actually.
of the things he said was he tried this chocolate in Switzerland for the first time, and he was like, you just can't
Oh,
get anything like this in America, which blows my mind. Because yeah, and he makes really, really good quality chocolate. And that's why I
there
wanted
you
to do
go.
it. But he's also an excellent obstacle course racer and media guy and big fan, big fan, big fan.
And he's based where?
Texas.
Do we know? In Texas?
Mhm.
And they actually talked about. They actually gave OCR a
Yeah,
little
yeah, there
love
were loads
in
of
the.
clips of OCR.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
See, there you go. Because a lot
yeah.
of times it's like, oh, local guy is now a chocolatier. And he left
No, it was a
behind
really
his
cool segment.
career in a fringe sport with I don't know, whatever. Okay. Oh, speaking of community folks, I
Hmm.
wanted to give a quick little oh, you know what? That's what it was. I was going through the OCR report just posted the current Spartan National Series standings.
Yeah.
And boy, I found something out on Instagram this week.
Oh, what did you
Um,
find out?
there was a post kind of like I don't like to comment on things too much, but I'm like, whatever. There was a post on I don't even know some random account that I follow, and I just said it was kind of like making fun of toxic masculinity, which I have no problem doing.
Mm.
And and the guy in the video made some great points. And all I said in the comments was Andrew Tate fans in shambles right now. Oh my God. All you have to do is say that guy's name and make a little bit of fun. And he has fans who are not nice. So
Oh, really?
I don't even know who
Wow,
that
that
guy is.
surprises me.
I know, so weird, right? It's like, you know what they need? Hugs. Hugs from other men.
No one
No,
needs.
like in like a fatherly hug. That's what those guys
Oh,
actually
yeah,
need.
yeah. They need some good parenting.
Yeah. So yeah. So we've had two of the four races so far. By the way, this is kind of like race results, but
More
it's more
interesting.
like a yeah. So the 2025 Spartan US National Series, after two of four races, here are the current standings. We have Adam Beach in first place with 600 points, Mike Strobel in second place with 408 points, Mateo Paliza, Paliza, third place, 392 points. Grayson West. This is why we don't do race results, by the way, because it's just rattling things off. I'm getting to my point. Grayson West, fourth place, 360 points. Andrew Deanda in fifth place with 297 points. Sixth place. The main reason I wanted to do this. Sixth place, 264 points. A great all around guy by the name of Brian Gawitsky. Brian was a former Spartan pro. Brian has won the World's Toughest Mudder team competition in 2018 when
With
he
Team
was
Fat
teamed
Boys.
with, no, that's Will Hicks, but they came in third that year. Team Fat Boys came in third that year. Brian's team that year was Ryan Atkins, Ryan Woods, Lindsey Webster, and himself.
Brian,
Which,
Ryan, and Lindsay.
yes, and I do believe is that the only time that a woman has won in the team competition at World's Toughest Mudder? I feel like
In my memory, but I've only
it
been to
might be.
three.
But anyway,
But me and
Brian,
Chris Rogowski are going to win this year.
you are. I have no doubt. Ryan took some time off from the sport and is making a bit of a comeback, if you will. He called it coming out of retirement, but he's been sidelined by atrial fibrillation. And I only bring that up because I myself have had experience with atrial fibrillation, and I reached out to Brian, and we've had a couple chats about it. And yeah, so I'm kind of giving him like a shout out, saying like, "Hey, dude, like, take care of yourself." And
I love
he's
that.
working through it, and
Tell me,
he's
Carlo, what is atrial fibrillation?
that is a great question, Fran. Atrial fibrillation, in my non-medical diagnosis, it deals with it's an electrical part of you. It's not like a blockage or whatever. It's when kind of like the pulses. My friend Nadia, who's an electrophysiologist, is going to hate me for this because I'm botching this horrifically.
Why
But
do I
basically,
sound
you
so
get
bad?
your heart gets out of what's
Sync.
called sinus rhythm, which is its natural rhythm, and you get like one chamber of the heart kind of going at its own little.
Spasms.
Yep. And it's not great. It's not you're not going to like die of a heart attack from it right immediately, but it's something that you want to get treatment for. I learned because I'm like, well, I don't snore and I don't like whatever. Like, what's going on? Mine actually found out mine was linked back to sleep apnea, which I never would have thought in a million years that I have. Turns out he's saying his doctor said his was exercise induced
Do you know
apnea,
what I
which is a
get?
totally
Which
no.
which I think that I need some attention on. I feel it most when I am going to sleep, but it's potentially because I'm laying on my left side and I'm all smooched up. My heart does this
Yeah.
thing where it's going like, and I can feel it coming. It goes like, ba-dump, 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 ba-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum.
Whoa.
Mm.
Just the one time?
Yeah, and then it'll do it again like a couple of minutes later. And I can feel
Oh.
it like stop for a second, and then it all catches up with itself and goes
Not stop like your heart stops though. Just stop
just
making
beat for a
that.
second, and then it
Oh.
all beats at once.
That's scary, I
I'm
think.
still
Is it?
alive though.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Although,
It
yeah,
seems
this is
pretty
a weird.
strong. It seems pretty strong,
Okay.
so I'm just going to ignore it.
Okay. You know, speaking of heart stuff, I watched the new Bill Burr special, which is which is if you don't like Bill Burr, I don't know. We can agree to disagree. But he has a new special out. He's 56 years old now. He has a special called The Drop Dead Years, and it's kind of a joke, but it's also not because he says he's at that age where it's like acceptable for like if a man is just walking around at 56 years old and just boom drops
Just
dead, people kind of go
yeah.
like,
Uh,
yeah. You go, well, he's at that. He's like 48 to like 58. There's this window where it's just acceptable to be like on the golf course and all of a sudden like gonk. But
I
it's
guess that's
mostly
the people
men.
who've got slight issues or aren't the healthiest. That's when it catches up.
Yeah, and you're not, and maybe don't go to the doctor. And eerily, I watched that special on a Saturday when it came out.
Mm.
The following Tuesday, the 56-year-old COO of the company that I work for dropped dead of a heart attack in his hotel room.
Shit.
So it's just like, get yourself checked out, fellas. Just
And
do it.
ladies.
Just to go get a physical, get a stress test. Like, and maybe don't eat so much.
Red meat.
Yeah. Yeah. Although it's funny because I also had low iron or low red blood cell count the other day. So I'm like, do I need to eat more red meat? Less red meat.
Tell
Right.
you what,
Not, not,
that is very common
not.
with people of um Mediterranean descent. Tha tha
Oh, I hope
tha
you're going to.
Thalassemia or
Yeah.
yeah,
I was
very
hoping you were
common.
going to say people who have really athletic backgrounds or something. I was waiting for like a,
No, although running,
no.
especially in women, can reduce your iron count. It's the pum 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 with the feet on the banging. But yeah, Mediterranean descent, you're likely to have yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I also had really horrible
We are
cholesterol
really
numbers.
adjacent today, aren't we?
We are. Oh, and we have a. Do
Oh,
you think the
community
winner?
news. One more community news thing.
Oh yeah, go
It
for it.
is April the 8th. So we're a little bit late, but we had April Fool's Day and it was really good fun.
Technically, it's April 11th by
It's
the time
April
that when this.
11th, so
It's
10 days
April
ago
11th.
was April Fool's Day.
We did have April. Fool's Day.
What were your favorite April Fools'?
Well, I loved the Tough Mudder one, which by the way had some of the best AI video. Like, there's a lot of bad AI out there, right? And it's very obvious to tell. And you could tell that their video was AI generated, but they had that one, and it was all just like this year instead of being. It was like people in like beanbag chairs on course and stuff.
Tough
But they
Mudder
had the
Lux.
one. They had the one where the people were like drinking mimosas at the aid station, and I was kind of
Love
like,
mimosas.
I gotta be honest. If you guys had like mimosas at an aid station, like, could we maybe think about that? I get it. You're joking, but
You
I'm
shouldn't
pretty
be.
motivated by mimosas. I'm just saying. So that one was probably my. I mean, I saw a bunch of random, like Disneyland put out like some funny stuff, and those of us that are into like theme parks, there was like a big announcement across multiple platforms that Disney had bought Universal,
I mean, I was just
and so
talking OCR based.
Babs, you didn't specify.
I thought this being an OCR show, it was a
What
given.
was yours? I was going adjacent. Here, I did the adjacent part. You give me the OCR part.
Do you know what? I think I said this in the group, but Trump had the option to do the funniest April Fool's Day joke ever, and he really slept on that.
He sleeps on a lot of things, but that's okay.
But announcing his resignation would have been the funniest April Fool's ever.
And you know what? I would have laughed at that. I would have been like, you know what?
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to give credit where credit's due.
that would have
That
been
would
so
have been.
good, and I don't know why he didn't do that. Would have been winner. I mean, I made two,
Oh,
and I'm gonna say, regardless of what the result was, I have rarely had as much fun making a video as I did the one for Decca. Like it
the
was
monster truck sounding
oh my
one.
God.
That was
Like
actually that. If you haven't seen that,
me and
that one.
Robin kind of spent a couple, so we catch up every now and again, and we spent a couple of sessions like brainstorming, and then she came up with this idea, and she was like, "Do you remember the monster truck videos?" And I was like, "No, because I'm British." And wasn't really
Do
alive. I
yeah,
was, but so she kind
it's
of
still
gave this
going.
idea, and then we were talking about it, and Dustin was just on the other side of the kitchen, and he was just like, "Yes!" And so, yeah, thus spent a bit of time researching and basically trying to make the most off-brand,
Hmm.
poor quality video I've ever made, and I've never had as much fun. I really
Do you
haven't. It's just, yeah. But then we're like, well, but anyway, I can't speak about my favorites because I was part of that. But it's
didn't you
just
make
so
one about
much
your
fun.
dog?
Yes, I did one for
You made one
OCR with my dog in it.
with your dog. That was adorable, by the way.
I
That's
know.
the most video I've seen of your dog ever, and it was hilarious.
So cute. But yeah, I just love how experimental and silly you can get on April Fool's Day. It's so much fun. It's like all the rules
Yeah.
go out the window and you just get to be silly.
I think if your dog was sitting on the back of my dog, we still wouldn't see your dog. That's how
Imagine.
big this dog is.
She's so little.
And she is so big.
She's so
This
little.
dog is, yes. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. So that's my
Uh,
community news.
okay. Um, should we just go right? I have one two-part thoughts on things
Ooh, go
question.
for it.
And are we doing, I kept thinking we have something else I was going to talk about, but okay.
Not that I remember.
Hold on. Now my dog's doing she gets so active. This 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 dog will sleep 20 hours a day if I let her. But if I sit in this room on my laptop with the camera and microphone on, she's like, playtime. And so now she's doing corkscrews into the carpet.
He's so
That a
cute.
girl. Oh, all right. Anyway, so
Thoughts
community
and
news.
things.
Man, just like it's baseball season and your boy is striking out a lot today. Um, okay. Well, here's it's a two-part question. I am looking for your favorite memory in OCR. Two-part. One, something from an OCR that you were participating in, and then something that you witnessed as either a commentator or a media member or just happened to be, you know what I mean? So something that involved you as a competitor, and then something that you got to witness as a result of your involvement with the sport.
Okay, so the first one that comes to mind as one of a competitor, and I'll see if I can find a picture and send it to you,
Okay.
was, it must have been 2016.
Nice. Coming up on 10
Maybe early
years.
2016. Yeah, it wasn't after then. It might have been like, no, 2015. It was 2015. It had to be 2015.
All right. No
And
one's debating the year.
it was a race called Airfield Anarchy, which was like, I think it was 3 races over a weekend, and everyone would camp. And they had like music in the evening, and then the race was
Yeah.
like it was a 3-part medal which clipped together. So each one was a standalone, and then the three
I've heard of
medals
that
clipped
before.
together, and they had like planes on them and stuff because it took place in Airfield. And I did a race, and there was a great collection of people that was from all the different kind of groups of OCR in the UK, like
Mhm.
media, different race teams, and we all just kind of were together. And we ran this race, and we decided, like really early on in this event, we picked up a cone and we
Okay.
gave it a nickname,
Love it.
and we carried this cone with us the whole way around the
I
course,
love it. Yep.
between like 9 or 10 of us. And I'm going to find you a picture. And I'm not saying that's my
Okay.
favorite thing that's ever happened because there's probably something else, but that was the first silly memory that came to my mind.
Yeah. I like it.
Like it was just fun community messing about, having a good time at a race, like good old school OCR, like still running
Yeah.
well, still doing a good race, and just being darn silly.
Somebody, it might have been Jessica Johnson. Somebody for a while had this like tennis ball that they put like a little fake wig on and gave it a name, and it had its own Instagram account.
That's
And they
funny.
took it all over the country to all these different Tough Mudders. And it was like there was different people getting pictures taken with it. But anyway, so that's different than carrying a, oh gosh, that reminds me. Oh, I can't think of those guys. They all work for Google now. They're all They all got their PhDs and left the sport.
Hmm.
But there was a couple dudes. They were friends of a guy named Wesley Kerr, Dr. Wesley Kerr, who's no longer really in the sport anymore. Mr. Red Tights, Dr. Red Tights, we called him. But they would wear the inflatable pool toys like around their waist,
Mm.
or have an inflatable pool toy, and they'd have to, as a group, it couldn't touch the ground, and they had to carry it the whole course.
Okay,
So you
I
had
like
guys
that
literally
too.
like holding it, going through Funky Monkey, and sometimes it hit the barbed wire and it didn't make it. But anyway, well,
That's
that's a good
fine.
one.
What about you? What's your
I
favorite one of a race that you've taken part in?
That's a good question. I was thinking about that this morning, and I came up with, well, unfortunately, I have like two, but the first one is from my third ever OCR event, which would have been the Tough Mudder in Lake Tahoe in
It's always Lake Tahoe,
2012. Yeah, I did. My first one was in 2011 in Tahoe. Then I did one in Temecula in early 2012.
which I used to think
And
was Temecula.
oh, I could see why you would. Yeah,
Hmm.
that
But
was
it's
oh
not.
gosh, that was a great Vail Lake, probably my favorite Tough Mudder venues ever. And then they lost the Bureau of Land Management took the land back, so or said no more races here. Anyway, it's kind of silly, but when I first got into OCR, I was not that I'm super fit now, but I was not as fit then as I am now. And
Mm.
so some obstacles were quite challenging. And the one thing I could not do the first two times I did Tough Mudder was make it through Funky Monkey, which back then was just monkey bars up, monkey bars down. That
Still
was it.
tough. Still tough,
Yep.
especially when it's wet
There
and
was
cold and
no
all
there
of
was
that
no
stuff.
rings, and they used to grease the rings and they could spin. But anyway, that third Tough Mudder in Tahoe in 20, whatever I said, 12, was the first time that I made it up and over the monkey bars. And I was like, it was like, just personally, I was like this, it was this big sense of accomplishment. And anyway, so in thinking back, there was that was probably one of my favorites because it was the first time I was like, oh, look at me, I've improved, you know, all this
I'm not very
running and all
good at
this
feeling a sense of
lifting.
accomplishment. So
Yeah.
anytime I've done a race and I've done well, I'm like, well, it can't have been that hard if I did well.
You know what? I've seen people, this is kind of sad. I know people who I used to try to get to do Tough Mudders who would like see people like I saw pictures. There's like some, really big people doing it and really slow people. Like I figure like if they could do it, it can't be that tough. And I'm like, that's the wrong attitude to have, pal.
The thing is,
So,
you don't realize how hard things are until you do them. And when you
right.
see people do it well, you really don't recognize just how darn difficult it is.
Yeah.
So,
And I would also say hitting 50 miles at my first ever World's Toughest Mudder was like a huge deal too.
huge.
That was the first time I emoted on an OCR course. So,
That's huge.
and I wasn't even emoting on the course. I was emoting in the pit before I headed out for my last lap because I knew I was at 45. I knew I had plenty of time to finish the lap and I was going to hit my goal. And all of a sudden I was just like,
We have
can I
attempted
have
to
a,
do one more lap.
can I have a towel, please? Not in 20, not that year. No, I still kick myself in 2021 when I
Hmm.
was like as fit as I've ever been and as confident as I've ever been. I did 55 miles. That was the year Jason Dupree got 75. That
Jason
was the
Dupree.
Dupree. That was at Laughlin. I got 55 and I underestimated how fast I would run my last lap because I didn't use any of my obstacle bands till that last lap. So I got back really fast and I was like, I totally have enough time to do another lap. But I was like, I was so focused on 55 that I didn't even think 60 was a possibility. So I just didn't go back out. And I kick myself for it now because
I
that
think that's, I
60
think we've
sounds,
had this conversation before
yeah,
about like limiting yourself with goals.
I agree. Yeah,
But
100%.
having
So how
goals is
about
really important. I'm trying to think. I don't
something that
know
you
because there's
witnessed?
been so many great moments. Like,
You've seen a lot too, probably more than I have.
I really
Mine are
have.
more Tough Mudder centric.
I am gonna go with Tyler Veerman at World's Toughest Mudder last year.
Really?
Yeah. Um,
Tell me more about that.
because
Love Tyler Beerman, by the way.
love that kid. I've told this story a million times, but I'll tell again. So Tyler Veerman ran World's Toughest Mudder in 2023, and he was there
Yep.
solo. He didn't have a tent for his pit. He just had a really simple pit. He had no pit crew. And he was really like, we asked him what his goal was before the event, and he said, I want to get to that
Right.
dark place and push through.
Yep.
There was no mileage goal. And then at some point in the night, we realized I think we hadn't seen him. So I went out into the pit to see where he was, and he was just kind of sitting in his pit, just like in a
Oh yeah.
just in himself. And I was like, dude, you all right? And he's like, no. And like he was just not happy, and he was really giving himself a really, really hard time. Um, and so he came and he hung out with us for a bit, and got warm and ate, and
Oh, that's right.
he pulled out of the race, and I think he really judged himself and had no joy for anything he had done. It was just a really, really bad night for him, and I think it
Mhm.
impacted him a lot. And I felt really bummed for the kid because I like him a lot, and that's just a really difficult place to be.
Yep.
And then last year he came back to World's Toughest Mudder, but he came back as part of a team.
Yeah. Mark
And
Gaudette.
yeah, and it was amazing. Like it was lovely. It was such a difference to what we saw the
Yes.
year before. And having someone with him and someone to kind and this is why people love team events and why people love teaming up with others. Every time he passed our tent, because we've got a tent that's every year I've been there anyway, has been like on the finish chute. Like you
Mhm.
see people finishing just as they go into their pit. And every time he passed us, he had this huge smile on his face. It was
Yep.
huge. You could see he was absolutely loving what he was doing. He was flying around the course, he was smashing it, but over everything, he was so happy. And
Yeah.
they ended up winning, and they
Yes.
did
Oh yeah.
really,
By
really
a
well. By a
sizable
lot. Like
margin.
he was like Mark was also fantastic as well. I'm not saying they just won because of like they were a
No.
fantastic
No.
team.
Yes.
But I think regardless, the win was not the part of it for me that was the really magical bit. It was seeing how much Tyler was enjoying himself, and I think that was a really, really good takeaway. And it made me really happy to see that, and I loved it. And I love championship events. I love the
Yep.
sports side. I love you know the me, the everyday racer guy, the person doing like I love that, but I do love the championship events. But I think to be able to see an athlete who's winning going through the being a human thing, I think it's just
Mhm.
wonderful.
You know what's funny that you say that? I was going through some of my old WTM 2024 footage, and I'm going to put it right here. I took a quick little video of him coming out of an obstacle, and you could hear. In fact, I'll play it right now, and you could hear just the joy and happiness in his voice because I'm like, "How you doing, Tyler?" And he's like, "Great, feeling great." And blah 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 blah. And it's like, so I just found it the other day, so I'll put it right here. How you feel, Tyler?
Fantastic.
That a boy.
Great. And so what was your best moment?
So my best moment, again, I can't have just one, right? But I don't. The show is so long. This is awesome. But the first one that I really remember being like, "Holy crap, that was amazing," was the very first ever toughest, or yes, toughest mutter. Before toughest were 12 hours, they were 8 hours. And the first year they did it, which I think was 2017, they ran midnight to 8 a.m. That was the race. And it was awesome. We were down in Glen Helen, California, Riverside County. In fact, where Tough Mudder was just there last weekend or weekend before. And this is back when they were paying money, and it was the inaugural one. So all like Ryan was there. Ryan was there. Chad
Ryan was
Trammell,
there.
Chad
Ryan
Trammell,
was there.
who had won Worlds the previous year, I believe, because solo, because Ryan Atkins had run a team. Chad Trammell was there, the Alaskan dentist, who also is a World's Toughest Mudder champion. All the big, I mean, Hunter McIntyre was there. Like it was like holy crap! Like all the big boys came up because they were paying out good money, and we ran. It was a horrible course because this is back when they. Do you remember when Tough Mudder was experimenting with the dual loops? Oh, it was just a
Well,
nightmare.
I had
It
nothing to do with Tough Mudder
it
until
lasted like
you
1 or 2 years, and they were like, "We're sorry, that was dumb." Basically, the first 4 hours of the race, you ran loop one, which was a 5 mile
Sounds
loop
pretty
with
cool.
and then second part of the race, you ran a totally different loop. But it just, I don't know. It never
Sounds
really
like an
translated well with
expensive
people.
build and a
But
lot of clogging
there you go.
potentially. Yeah.
Tough Mudder's known for their expensive builds, aren't they? Anyway, so what was crazy is that Chad Tremmel had this like ridiculously large lead, like 15, 20 minutes on Ryan Atkins for most of the race. And then in like the last hour, I remember me and my friends, many, many miles behind, were going up this one of the many, many. If you ever been to the Glen Helen Raceway, it's a motocross like playground. So there's these giant steep hills. We were slogging up one of those. Chad Trammell came trucking by. We're like, oh, there goes Chad Trammell. Good for him. And then like seriously, like 20, 25 minutes later, here comes Ryan Atkins. And he's like, hey, Carlo. And I was like, oh my God, he knows who I am. This is awesome. He's like, hey, how far ahead was Chad? And I remember we were like, oh gosh, if we would have kept track if we knew you were coming, but I don't know, like 15, 20 minutes. And he was like, okay. And then he just like, and then he takes off up the hill. And then come to find out, because we finished our lap and it was the last lap for us, and he went around for another one. That dude just dropped the hammer, and Chad Trammell failed some obstacles and stuff and had to do penalties. But like, yeah, Atkins ended up on the very last lap making up
Nice.
like this incredible. It was like, yeah, and made up this insurmountable lead and won the event.
Nice.
And it was like, of course he did. And that's when I was kind of like, that guy could pretty much do anything. So that was probably one of the first real like, oh my gosh, memories that I got to be a part of or got to witness.
I've got one other one, which is not
Glossy getting 100 miles was the other one that I was gonna.
Oh,
I would have
yeah.
said that was like and that whole and being a part of like that whole race, like from a media perspective, and like keeping track and like, is she not? Can she not? And then kind of knowing she's gonna get it, it was just like
it was never a given until quite close to the end.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, how did I forget about that? That was amazing. But I've got one other, which is not as specific. It's one thing that happened a few times, which became a bit of a ritual.
Tell me.
Was at the and I've said this before, but I love it. At the end of OCRWC weekend, when it was all finished and like the last racer was done, and I would say to Adrian, I'd just sidle up to Adrian and say, "Yo, Adrian, we did it."
Oh, look at you. Excellent.
I loved it. He kind of hated it, but yeah.
But maybe he doesn't like Philadelphia.
Maybe.
That's where Rocky was allegedly from, you know.
I know everything about Rocky.
Some of their best heroes aren't real people. So that's good for them. You like Philadelphia?
Never been.
I hate their sports fans.
We were considering going after WTM last year because we had nowhere that we were actually going. We were trying to just do a last minute trip somewhere. We ended up staying in Florida, which was fun.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I must go at some point.
Fran,
this is fun.
We have got yet. Oh, wait. I bet the winner of the contest would like to know who they are. I like to think that we actually gave the name out earlier and that we didn't totally just keep forgetting until now. But I don't think that's the case. Boy, you really, really want to know who's. Congrats to those of you who have put up with. We got to be over an hour, right?
Oh my God.
So so this person.
Are we going to message them, or are we just going to let people listen and tell them to message us?
I think we should we should just say
if you're the winner of the competition, drop me or Carlo a message, and we'll send you your code. Congratulations! And the winner of the competition,
who did the things correctly, they watched or listened to the show, they got the answer correct, they DM'd it to us, and left a comment on the post. And that person, pause for dramatic effect, as if the last 70 minutes of podcast hasn't been dramatic effect. Fran, did I ever tell you about the time? Just kidding, it's Keith Jones. Keith Jones, who I think is from the UK, isn't he?
I just laughed over the first announcement, so I'm glad you said it again.
Keith Jones. Keith Jones DM'd us and said, whatever I said the answer was, bring your medals, right? Which, by the way, that's a do not forget, if you're doing the Holy Grail, you've got one or two or one of your parts or whatever, bring your medals so they all click together and make your actual Holy Grail thing. So, boy, my dog is really annoyed that I just
Congratulations,
made that loud.
Keith Jones.
Congrats, Keith Jones. He doesn't have to pay for World Toughest Mudder this year.
Fantastic. We will see you there. You better be there.
I'll be there, I think.
I'll be there, I think.
I'll be there. You better be there. It's like
I'll be there.
Fran, we should go.
Okay, yeah. All right. It's just been so nice catching up with you.
It really has. These bi-weekly things, I just realized I don't talk to you as much as I'd like. So
I know.
But this has been fun.
Let's do it again in 2 weeks.
Let's do it. Congrats, Keith Jones. Sorry for making you away.
Congrats, Keith Jones.
And thank you for everyone who did things right and just wasn't the person that got chosen. So
I'm waiting for like some things to come across the screen.
Oh yeah. Okay.